Hey everybody, this is our Tuesday check-in, and I wanted to spend today especially taking a moment to just celebrate and recognize our 2020 high school graduates from our church here at First Baptist of Gardner. So I want to say congratulations to Michaela Inman, James Payne, Tevin McKelvey, Lily Forsyth, and Stephanie Williams. And you five are part of a class that has gone through something none of the rest of us have gone through. As you graduate in the midst of the world in chaos, it seems. But we're really proud of you, and we're really happy that you have endured the process of education, and we're excited about what you have to come in the future. And it made me think really about what it is, we're going through right now and what it is we say to each other in these times of transition. And I've noticed several times as I've been teaching the kids through Discovery Club or preaching through series lately where, Moses, before they transitioned to Joshua's leadership, he gave them the Shema, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. And trying to help prepare them as they moved on to the next phase of their life with God. And then Joshua, we just talked about a few weeks ago in Discovery Club lessons that before Joshua gave up his leadership as he was later in his life, he stood before the people and he said, you can choose to serve anybody you want. You can serve the gods of the foreign people. You can serve these gods over here. You can serve these idols over here. Or you can serve the God who has been with us all this time. And he said, but choose today who you're going to serve. My family will serve the Lord, will serve the God of Abraham and Isaac and Moses. And so, these moments of transition are a time when we often want to impart some wisdom, impart some knowledge, and help prepare you as you go to the next phase. And the reality is we all need it sometimes. Right now, as we're in the middle of the culture being shut down and starting to open up, and we're trying to figure out what the next stages are and what's going to happen. We're all in that time of transition, but especially as graduates. You guys are looking at what's to come as adults and what's going to be the next step in your life. Well, I read this book called Who Switched the Price Tags years ago by a guy named Tony Campolo. And there was this sociological study he talks about in that book where they took 50 people who are over 95 years old and they surveyed them. And the question they asked them was this: if you had it to do over, what would you do differently? So these are people that are 95 years old. If you had your life to do over, what would you do differently? And there were really three common answers. And these three, I think, are really a good bit of wisdom as you transition to the next stage of life. And the three things were this: reflect more, risk more, and do more that will live on after death. Reflect more, risk more, and do more that will live on after death. Now, think about what's coming. I don't know about you, but for most of my life, I've spent way too much time looking ahead and not paying attention to where I'm at. And this is certainly a point where, this time has given us a lot of time for reflection. But, I was always looking to the next thing, as teachers would always kind of push us, like, you need to learn this so that next year you'll be ready to do this. And in elementary school, they're preparing us for middle school. And in middle school, they're preparing us for high school. And in high school, they're preparing us either for college or for life in the world, and everything was always looking ahead. Well, I'm doing this to look ahead to that, and I have a goal-centered mind, and so I would often just look ahead and go, okay, once I get this done, then I can do this. And oftentimes didn't take time to stop and reflect. Stop and pay attention to what is actually happening right now. I want to encourage you as you guys move on to the next phase of your life. Don't spend all your time, looking on to the next thing. If you're going to college, don't spend all your time just looking for that next graduation, but reflect on the world that you're living in. Reflect on the life that you're living. our time is all limited, so pay attention to what is happening. The second one, they said risk more. Anything worth anything involves risk. Nothing safe will produce great value. That's just the reality. And so you're going to have to risk, and that may mean going off to school and making friends and taking those risks to put yourself out there for new people. Then when it comes time in relationships, we risk in relationships, whether that's marriage or family, whatever that is, it takes risk. And certainly following Jesus is a risk. We see it all throughout the Bible. From Abraham and Sarah, who were old and moved to a new place, from David going to fight a giant, from Paul changing his life as a Jewish scholar to a follower of Jesus. Everything took risk, and they all had to deal with sometimes the consequences of those risks. I can tell you, I'm not 95, but everything that's been good in my life has required some risk. So don't be afraid to take risks and to do the things that are hard for the sake of Christ and those in our relationship with Him, for the sake of the good things that come from taking chances. Then the third one, do more that lasts after death. I think this one's really important. Tony Capola says this quote, "One of these days you're going to die. They're going to throw dirt in your face and go back to church and eat potato salad." Meaning, ultimately, someday you're going to be done. You're going to be a memory. So what can you do that will have an impact on the world that's beyond your own life? And making a difference in the world matters. Now, it doesn't mean you have to change the world on a broad scale, but it means that we have an opportunity in our life to put effort towards things that are lasting and not just things that are here and now. So I just wanted to encourage you with that. Take some wisdom from some 95-year-old people at this moment in your life and choose to reflect more, risk more, and do more that will live on after your death. You've got a great life in front of you, and we're excited for what you have to come. So seniors, congratulations. We're really proud of you and praying for you as you go forward. And the rest of us, as we continue through this time of isolation, we're going to continue to be that way here at church. We're still going to be closed as a building for a while, but we'll let you know as soon as we can come back. But we're not closed as a church, so continue to reach out to each other and messaging and phone calls and whatever, and continue to pray for each other. Continue to do things that have an impact on others for the sake of Christ and for the sake of those that are in need of whatever we can do. And we'll keep being the church, even though our doors are closed. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. Make sure you're staying home as much as you can. Stay healthy, and we'll talk to you next time.